Okay, I think I might get going, guys. And if anyone else joins, we can go back over any bits. So if you want to stop me and ask any questions, please feel free. So actually, I have a poll question actually just to start off with, just we know kind of who we have here, what kind of level of involvement we've had and knowledge maybe. So just, is this your first year involved in AMSI, yes or no? That's me kind of testing this poll feature on Zoom that we're not using later on. So I've got 4 yeses and 1 no, two no's now. Seven people voted, although I haven't. Okay, so we're pretty half and half. Slightly, we're majority in your first year involved in AMSI. So we've 5 and 3. So that's great. And this is hopefully going to be somewhat informative. My name is Donal. I'm a final year medical student in NUIG. And I'm currently, well, until next Sunday, I'm the president of the AMSI National Committee. Prior to that, I was the vice president for communications, so I looked after kind of the PRO, the national side. And before that, I was both the local officer of public health and then the chair or the co-chair in NUIG. This is the second time we've ran a training like this for AMSI. Last time we had everybody in person in Trinity. It did give people a really good start to the year, we thought. So we said we'd try and transfer it over to, I don't want to use any cliches, actually I can't avoid them, but the way things are now anyway. So we said we'd give this a go on Zoom. So basically what I'm going to try and get across is what AMSI is, kind of what it is on a national, local and international scale. It has what kind of stuff we do, and just kind of, there's a lot of lingo, and I kind of hope that I kind of break down the barriers, because it's not that complicated. It's just people like acronyms and medical students and medical student associations maybe have a few too many of them. So AMSI is the Association of Medical Students of Ireland, or AMSI as we tend to say. So I suppose that's our first kind of port of call. So who are we? So there is an AMSI local committee in 7 universities on the island of Ireland, in UCD, UCC, Queen's, RCSI, Trinity, UL, and NUIG. So that represents in total over 7,000 medical students. We're part of some international bodies that I'm going to talk a little bit more about later, the International Federation of Medical Students Association and the European Medical Students Association, but more on that to come. But we are part of a very large global network. That figure is actually not quite up to date right now. Oh no, sorry, it is 127 countries. Yeah, so there is an AMSI type organization in 127 countries in the world. So nearly the whole world is covered. And just if you're looking at some of our social media there, with our website, amsiofficial.com, and that's our Instagram account. We have a Kanki here, and I'm sure she'd much appreciate you all to follow our Instagram account if you're not already doing so. How did we wind up with an AMSI type association? So back as an international basis, an AMSI type organization has been around in a lot of cases since the 40s or 50s. In Ireland, things are a bit more decentralized. Every university had med socs or bio socs, and some of them had very active ones, some of them had less active ones. And back in 2015, there was a Canadian student in Galway at the time, 2014 even, sorry, who had heard of the International Federation of Medical Students Associations and didn't realize there's no Irish member, and just emailed them wondering how would you go about setting one up. So he got some information on that basis, and then he met another guy also in NUIG who was involved in the medical society at the time, called Kevin from Dublin, who was the sports officer of the NUIG Medical Society, and wanted to organise an inter-university sporting event between all the different colleges. I had awful trouble trying to get in touch with all the different medical schools, trying to find out what their structures were and how they could communicate. So they kind of put their heads together and look at what happens in the rest of the world in this scenario, and realised that like a national body that links medical students in all the different universities together, so that they can organise things that they can work on together and have kind of greater scope for the stuff that they do, would be very helpful, even just for a communication perspective. So they got everyone together, and so their dream originally was to have an intervarsity sporting event. So that was achieved for the first time, I think, back in 2014. And you can see there some of the pictures from that I found from our Facebook page. I went delving into the archives there. So once they had kind of a grounding of students together, they wanted to look at electing a national committee. And that was their first ever national committee in 2015. Can you see my mouse? I don't know if you can. You can't see my mouse, can you? Okay, that's Kevin. Actually, that's the guy I was talking about there earlier, and some other people have been involved with us over the years there as well. So they looked at how to get AMSI membership of the International Federation of Medical Students Associations, because they wanted to link in internationally with all the different other international bodies like ourselves. So the International Federation of Medical Students Associations, as I said, covers like most of the world, with a few areas there that have been missed out. I think Iran and Saudi Arabia and places like that. But basically, nearly every country in the world, you are in Africa, I've yet to join too. There's countries joining every single year, to be honest, as well. So it's at 133 different type organizations. They're actually in 127 countries. There are a couple of countries that have more than one due to various different regional issues. Quebec and Catalonia have their own ones and things like that. But you'll hear more of that if you ever go to international meeting. But it's basically covering the world, and we all kind of have tried to keep a similar structure. And there's an international committee, there's a European level committee, and they work on various issues the IFMSA works in. So I'm actually going to try and share with you what the IFMSA is. They've got a really good YouTube video. I have no idea if the sound is about to work on this or not, but we're going to have a go. So okay, tell me if you can hear. Can anyone hear that? No. Okay. How do we do? How do I get audio to share on this? I should have checked this beforehand. I have one or two videos to show you. Shared screen. Audio. Okay.
But many we face. Technology is solving some. Technology is solving some of the great.
We can only hear the video. We can't hear you, Donald, at all.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now it's working, but we didn't catch what you said earlier.
Yeah, no, I moved.
Greatest healthcare technology.
So you can hear both me and the video at the moment, can you?
Technology.
Can you hear the video still? And can you hear
Yeah,
me?
perfect.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. No, I was just saying that the IFMSA have made this video. It's just a quick video about how they were formed and what they are, and just it might be just a little nice introduction. We've used it before. I think. So I'm just going to play this now quickly. Is that okay with everyone?
Technology is solving some of the greatest. Technology is solving some of the greatest healthcare challenges we face today. Printing human kidneys, building prosthetic limbs at home, and fixing eyesight with laser beams. But many old world challenges stay the same. How do we share, collaborate, and stay connected? After World War II, a small group of medical students decided to take on that problem by forming the International Federation of Medical Students Associations, or IFMSA, if you don't have long to live. IFMSA recognized that to create lasting seismic change, healthcare would need to be taken beyond the hospital, that medical students should not be passive subjects in society, but valuable individuals with a powerful role to play in shaping world health, and that by working together, their impossible goals could be achieved. 60 years on, IFMSA works in public health, medical education, human rights and peace, sexual and reproductive health. Carries out more than 13,000 professional and research exchanges a year. Holds assemblies, regional meetings, and workshops, inspiring over 1 million medical students to think outside the box, to collaborate, communicate, advocate, and educate. IFMSA, the impossible, we do tomorrow. Miracles may take a little longer.
Okay, you can hear me? Yeah, okay, so that's the International Federation of Medical Student Associations kind of explanation. And as you can see, they break themselves down into different areas to break down their work. And we use that in AMSI as well. So they meet twice a year at international meetings that bring together 1,000 medical students from around the world. So the way to join them is to attend the meeting and put forward your candidature to join. First ever Irish student went to Turkey in March 2015. In Malta 2016, we applied to become candidate members of the IFMSA, which is like we were starting the process of joining. We became full members of the IFMSA in Montenegro in 2017, and as you can see, we've sent students since then to Tanzania, Egypt, Quebec, Slovenia, Taiwan, Rwanda, and then the Zoom version of the meeting that happened last July. Would have been in August, but they moved forward slightly. There's also been some European meetings in Romania and Germany and Russia and Greece as well. Those would be more like 250 medical students, and we sent students to all of them as well. So we've sent, there's been only one person, I think, in Turkey, and we sent as many as 11 or 12, I think, maybe to Montenegro back in the day. We would have had a good few in, we had, I think we had 10 in, there's a picture coming up in a minute actually of them in is the next slide? It is. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we had 8 students in Rwanda last March, just before the whole world went weird. With 1,000 medical students. It's a week-long event, and there's lots of different aspects to it that are great fun. They do a lot on you sharing your culture with other parts of the world. There's a national food and drink party one night where people bring food and drink from their own country, and so we actually bring Baileys and potatoes, to be honest, to these things a lot. We've tried bringing Guinness, we've tried bringing whiskey, but people really like the Baileys and the potatoes for some reason. But there's lots of countries in the world. There's cultural performances from different parts of the world. The type of students that attend this is a real kind of, to be honest, quite an outgoing kind of like global-minded, global health-minded medical students from around the world. You meet incredible people. I've been to quite a few of these meetings myself, and honestly, they've been some of the best fun I've had as a student. I've met some incredible people from around the world. So every year, AMSI tries to send delegations to both meetings. Obviously, the last one didn't happen, and there was one fixed for next March at the moment in North Macedonia. So that's a little proviso on that, obviously, with everything going on. Though it may take place. And there's people looking at the feasibility of that at the moment. And the one after that is scheduled for Panama next August, because Panama was originally supposed to host the one this August, just gone. So they moved themselves forward a year. So hopefully next August we'll have a group of medical students in Panama having an absolute ball. So there's different subdivisions of the IFMSA that we kind of base it on. So public health is one. So we have the public health role in AMSI is quite large. And probably has grown a lot while we've been part of it, and it cuts across basically all areas of public health, and the world is your oyster here. So health promotion and education initiatives, national and local examples, we've had antimicrobial resistance awareness. I think our MedMinds focusing on medical student mental health. Healthy Heroes is a huge event we've been running for the last 2 years around Ireland and in different universities, where we provide evidence-based health workshops to national school and TY students. There's 2 different programs that are used, and there's some pictures there actually of the students after both of them actually go away. And we have a national officer of public health, we have local officers of public health, and they work together on major initiatives. We're members of the HPV Vaccine Alliance. There's an Irish Global Health Network, I may have their name slightly wrong, who we collaborate on with as well on stuff, and we have an agreement with them. So the public health person works a lot with them. Do I have another slide? Yeah. So just the Healthy Heroes event we're talking about is a couple of hundred kids coming into university, or sometimes been running some places where people go out into the community, and they go out to the schools themselves and trying to deliver the program there. So it's been actually run both ways. generally what universities have been doing is they've been trying to start off going out to the schools, and then year 2 or year 3 they try and bring them in. Now I know that this semester this kind of event maybe it's not going to happen, but in the future it hopefully will run again. So I have a video from 2 years ago's one, I think, in Galway that does kind of a really good job of explaining what the purpose of the event is, and you can see some of the students there. Can someone give me a thumbs up if they can hear that? Yeah.
We believe that teaching kids about their health and how to stay healthy is really crucial at a young age. So we thought we could start this event and kind of inspire teachers and med students and their parents into bringing health into the curriculum.
And we find that at a young age, if you implement this change at a young age, it can grow and grow into a bigger change and make a widespread impact in the whole community and hopefully the population of Ireland, and instill a new generation of healthy eaters and healthy minds.
I'm Sarah Gundy. I work at the Science Foundation Ireland Centre for Research in Medical Devices, and we do research to develop medical devices to help people live with chronic illnesses. And what we'd like to do is also teach people how to prevent getting those chronic illnesses to begin with. So we're teaching kids the benefits of different types of exercise and how it affects the science behind how their body works. So we're focusing on 2 types of exercises. We're doing dance to release dopamine and to make their brains healthier. And then we're doing high intensity interval training to make their hearts healthier.
Today we have someone from the Irish Dairy Council coming in to talk about nutrition with our the students from Healthy Heroes. So she's come in and she's a nutritionist, and she's making sure all the kids know all about the food groups and are being able to create their own meal plan and making sure that they follow the nutrition guidelines. And so we just want to make sure these kids have a great foundation for how nutrition should be in their everyday lives.
As part of Healthy Heroes, we're doing a yoga morning with the kids, are teaching them about yoga for their mental health and getting them to relax a bit and stretch out. Yeah.
All right, so over in this room we're conducting Cell Explorers. Cell Explorers is a program started here in Galway, and the idea is to get children between the ages of as low as 5, 6, all the way up to 10, 11, get them involved in understanding what science is and reducing their fear of science. Because science is a beautiful subject and we want to get them excited about it from a very young age. So the starting point of it is just introducing to them the idea of the size of things. So from how small a cell can be to how big something can be, like an elephant or a field or anything like that. And I think just the general idea is to allow us as students here and as even teachers in NUIG to be the role models and the starting point to get children excited in science.
Okay, so that was the event in Galway that was held the year before last, if I remember correctly. And I don't know if any of you have been involved in societies before, but some of you may have heard of the BICS Awards that happen in different societies, and Healthy Heroes won the National Award for the best event in Ireland actually that year. And it's been run in UL, it's been run in Cork, it's been run in UCD, I think, yes, and possibly some other Dublin colleges as well. So it really has kind of spread out nationally. The student in Galway started, she was a public health officer a few years ago. She was on the video there speaking, and she became national public health officer later on, and was really instrumental in kind of getting it going everywhere else too, and sharing. That's the great thing about AMSI, is when you get something that really works in one college, it's very easy to transport that to a different college as well. You can use the same materials, you can use similar contacts, and you can even troubleshoot the event for people who've ran it before. So the next standing committee we have here is the Sexual and Reproductive Health, including HIV and AIDS, another international ICSA body. I know it's a bit of a mouthful, but it's basically broadly sexual health and promotion. So you can see there some of the stuff that's been done on cancer, breast cancer awareness, Movember, STI awareness. I don't know if any of you are here from RCSI, but I know the RCSI Instagram account, if anyone follows it, RCSI was doing some really good online polls on sexual health, I noticed recently, and then we see some condoms given out there in another AMSI group as well. I think this slide here has some international examples of some of the stuff that's even done in this area, like gender-based violence and sexual health sign language. So I think it was one of the countries in South America, the Medical Students Association, basically introduced words for sexual health terms to the version of sign language used in that country. It was kind of a conservative country that hadn't really had words in sign language for various different sexual health terms that were needed. And they literally invented them, and they became part of the sign language. That's just one Medical Student event some years ago that was really impactful in that country. So the national officer, again, works with all the different local officers. We have one in every university. They try and get a monthly meeting going. So if you are one, you probably hear who the national one is, and if you're looking to be a national one, kind of the stuff that happens. So you all kind of keep your lines of communication open. And there's also, not all these kind of committees, they all have online meetings with all of Europe as well, where they like share ideas between different countries as well for different things that work. So last year, our National Officer for Sexual Health ran this event called Let's Talk About Sex. I don't know if any of you heard about it, but it ran in UCD, and they brought in a series of speakers from different perspectives, doctors, activists, students, student leaders, GPs. We had Rory O'Neill, also known as Panty Bliss, talking about his life in HIV, that he was diagnosed in the 90s, and just he's a really good speaker on the topic, and how things have changed in that area over the years, and the stigma that was experienced still is very much part of society. The different bits of progress that we made too, that was a really, really impactful speech. That was in UCD there last February. So we would have had we'd over 100 students, maybe 150 attended that event. We had people kind of from almost the community came to that as well. So that's kind of the biggest national event maybe we've done in that. We also were involved in policy document on abortion access. I'm going to talk about that. We're going to do a little thing on policy at the end just quickly. So moving on to the next committee, then we've got the Human Rights and Peace, or SCORP, or Scorpions as they tend to be known in ISMSA circles. I don't know if any of you ever met Daly from UCC, who's our National Officer for Human Rights and Peace, and brings plenty of enthusiasm with him to everything he's part of in life. So this touches on things like LGBTQ patient workshops. It's been a lot of working with local direct vision centres been done. It's been done in Cork and Galway, I know anyway. Issues like disability as well, disability rights have been highlighted here in the past. With panel discussions on how doctors talk to patients with disabilities. Been done before, really interesting stuff actually. So again, the National Officer's job there is to basically work with all the different local committees. It's pretty much the same as the rest of them. But so again, big human rights component worldwide as well. What World Human Rights Day is one of the pictures there as well. That was we did before. Oh yeah, the Safe Talk as well. That was run before in more than one college, as far as I know, on suicide alertness for everyone. Was also organised by some of the Human Rights and Peace officers in different universities as well. So medical education then. Not everyone's most exciting time committee in AMSI, but sometimes the most impactful. So obviously, if we have a medical student in every university in Ireland, we can chat about how different things work from an education perspective. I can see this being quite important in the next year, to be honest, because I think education is changing right now in ways it has never changed before. And I know at a national level, we've been having a lot of conversations about how different exam formats work, how internship was going to work, how online teaching was going to work. And even today, we've been discussing about how the different universities have very different approaches to allowing students online placement opportunities. So we also have an event, we run this every year regarding it's called the National AMSI Case Conference. So there's a local case conference organised by local committees in all different universities, and then a national one as well. So we've had people who won that year's past. We've actually had people who've not actually who won that national case competition who've been using it to get on schemes, to be honest, as well. Because it is a recognised national case conference, and we judge by consultants all around the country. So if you're looking for something maybe for the CD or something to an opportunity to present an interesting case, it tends to run semester 2. Maybe it varies slightly, but broadly like February-ish local and maybe March-ish nationally. So there'll be stuff about that coming up in the weeks and months ahead. So then Kind of a separate area we do in AMSI is exchanges. This has been growing year on year until it wasn't growing this year, obviously. But this involves students from Ireland, from all different universities, traveling abroad to hospitals abroad to complete a clinical elective in a hospital in another country, normally for a month. And in return, we have a kind of reciprocal relationship whereby Ireland hosts. It's actually slightly less than we send, but that's just due to negotiation with different countries. But we would still host quite a few students from all around the world, and they do with 1 month clinical electives in hospitals in Ireland as well. In Ireland, we'd host them, we get them all together, and we do things with them at the weekends as well. We went 2 years ago to the Aran Islands. They had a great weekend in Dublin. They did a few other things as well. I think they went walking in Wicklow actually one weekend. And obviously, if you go abroad on one of these exchanges, the national organisation there do similar activities too. So you're with students for the month from all over the world. It's a really, really good program. People have gone and had an amazing time. We have had like people who met their significant other on this, to be quite frank. Actually, I know 2 or 3 different groups of people like that. They basically get to see a healthcare system in a different country, which is great fun too, to be honest. Currently, we're currently at capacity-wise about sending about 25 to 30 students per year in an IT world, but year on year, we're always looking to increase that. I know there's a question mark over this program happening next year. I just want to say, honest to anyone that is thinking of applying, that every single student that applied last year would have, the process generally starts semester 1. Students pay money in like January or December, whatever, but every single euro of money that was paid by any student to take part in their electives, that obviously none of them actually happened this summer, was all refunded, just in case anybody has any concerns in that way. I think the program costs about €580, but that includes your accommodation for the month and 1 meal a day in the country you travel to. Sometimes includes access to some social activities as well. That varies a little bit from country to country. Obviously, some countries are more expensive than others to live in, but some of them can be very cheap too. And then students generally organise their own flights. So there'll be information on this coming, I feel, in the coming weeks as to how, if it is to take place this year, how it's going to work. There are some contracts that were postponed from last year with countries. So don't despair. And it is actually a really, really great experience to take part in. I think I have a list there. Those are the countries we had last year. Exchanges available in from around the world. So then I'm going to talk a little bit about, did I forget something? Hang on, sorry. Just on the area of policy. So I'm going to tell you very quickly about that. In AMSI also has a system for making policy on certain areas that people think are important. So the first major time this was done was on safe access to abortion in Ireland, and a policy document was written by that. This was back in originally 2018, in the early, 2017 it probably started originally, but a group of students at a national and local level got together and wrote a policy document on safe access to abortion. It's available on our website at the moment still. On the basis of that, one of the partners was a feeling that AMSI should take a stance on the 8th Amendment referendum that's happening in Ireland. So AMSI had a vote of all our different local committees to try and make the decision democratically, and it was decided that we would take a pro-choice stance in that. And as you can see there, we were present at the launch for Doctors for Yes as well, and we have at least 2 or 3 of our committee members in that photo with Simon Harris and some consultants and doctors who were at that launch, and that's a group of us there actually that were at the launch as well on the day. And the policy document, I might even just throw it up here because it shows kind of the structure of policy documents. The IFSA has lots of these too. This was our first national one. This is just the students who are involved in it, and we stated out her position in the background, the issues, why it was relevant to medical students, and then different calls to actions, different things we wanted universities to do, student organisations to do, we wanted AMSI to do, and then it was all referenced as well. So we actually have another one of these that will be voted on at the NGA on Sunday. It's on climate change this time. And a group of students from around Ireland have been working on a really great policy on the health impact of climate change, and it's a really interesting document. So it'll be voted if it's passed at the weekend. It'll be it'll be voted upon, and then it'll be circulated, and there might be some press and some media around it as well, which we might try and organise. But like just things like you'd be surprised as to like how like much stuff that's put in clinical waste bins isn't clinical waste. You know, them yellow ones you might see in the hospital, and just the actual cost of that, like of putting the wrong thing in the wrong bin from a medical perspective, actually can massively increase. And different hospitals have run different campaigns around it. It's actually made a really sizable difference to the carbon footprint of the hospital itself, because a lot of that stuff gets incinerated, it has to travel to get so, and versus some of it just be recycled. It's not a risk if it helping that patient fluids on it or whatever. So those were the main topics I was going to talk about this evening. I think when I hang out, like, I'll just give it a play quickly. So back, this is supposed to be, I was supposed to say this earlier on, but this is just like, give you something an idea of what an international assembly is like, because this is from the International Assembly in Montenegro, where Ireland became members of the IHMSA for the first time as full members. So this is just the vote that took place at the time. I found this on the Facebook there recently, and I thought it was really cool.
Member of the International Federation of Medical Students Association, proposed by
Oh, okay, hang on.
As full member of the International Federation of Medical Students Association, by AMSI Training, do you have a seconder? The recommendation from the EP is to accept Ireland AMSI as a full member of AMSI. Thank you. Do we have any amendments that are indicative? Not yet. The motion passes to move control. AMSI Training.
So, and that was obviously great fun at the time, but there's a group of medical students there spelling out AMSI, I don't know if you can see that, with their bodies. So those are the main points I wanted to just like give you a brief introduction to. I know I kind of moved fast there, but this obviously, look, it'd be great if we were all in a lecture hall or something together. At the moment, we're not. But is there any questions or comments anyone has on any of that, or wants me to explain anything a bit better, or anything you want to ask at all, really? What universities do we have? Sorry.
Can you tell us what countries the exchanges have happened in, or like will happen in this coming year?
I'd have to check with the national exchange officers, but it's broadly that list I was using there. Now, okay, this is not an official announcement that these countries are definitely 100%. There's definitely a country or two here that won't be available for some reason and may have been swapped or whatever. This was the list of countries we had last year, and my understanding was that all contracts got postponed. But that's not to say one of them hasn't been cancelled or two of them haven't been cancelled. But I'm kind of conscious of this. Maybe isn't. This is not an announcement of the exchanges. I'm not the exchange officer. Kelly is from Cork is now the national outgoing exchange officer, and will be for the whole next year. We did that election a bit earlier. But the plan is, I think, to try and see if there's interest among students in applying in semester 1 to have them ready to go in semester 2 if possible. And every caveat that we can include in that. I think we may even have an exchange officer or two with us here at the moment. They may not even know more than I do, so I don't know about this. I haven't talked to Carol, the outgoing officer, or Kelly about it specifically in these meetings we've had. But that's where we are on that. Thanks. Does anyone else like to talk about any of the rest of the standing committees or anything involved in the ISMSA or AMSI or whatever? Or how is everyone getting on?
Well done. Thanks a million for that.
Michael, how are you going?
I am the LORP over in UCD. I was just actually given that role there recently. Another person dropped out, and so I'm just coming to grips with everything. Pardon me, you were mentioning earlier about the national liaison for the human rights and peace. Was there anyone I'd be able to get in touch about that? Just ask further questions.
Yeah. So I probably should be telling everyone as well. On Sunday is our National General Assembly to elect next year's National Committee as well. So there will be a new person in all the different national roles from Sunday. By the way, if anyone here is interested in taking a national position, take a look at our Facebook and our social media, and there's a link there if you're interested. It'll be on Zoom again. Again, that would have been in person in the past. However, there's a guy called Bailey Crowley, who has been since last September the National Officer for Human Rights and Peace, and I can make sure you. Do you have an email address for NORP, norp.amc@gmail.com, I think?
I do. The Emily, our head over in UCD, actually,
yes, I know Emily.
She gave me the details for it, but it's just it's faulty, and she doesn't really seem to have a spare for that.
The email didn't work. Okay, hang on. I want to say if I send Emily would have Bailey. I can give you Bailey's WhatsApp because he's very good, to be honest, at responding on that. He's graduated. He's now a PEDS intern in University College Hospital Cork. I can send you a private message over this, I think, and I'll send you my phone number on that.
Yeah, that would be perfect. Thanks a million for that.
And I'll send you his contact, and I'll just shoot him a message just to let him know that we just have somebody here looking for. He's pretty up to date on what happens with it as a national, international. So he'd be a good person to talk to anyway. So as I say, I'll get Michael here, and I want to message you.
If you look on our Instagram story, we've actually done a quick recap of this presentation, and you can also find Bailey's contact info if you want to contact him through the social media.
Oh, lovely. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's my phone number anyway, Michael. You can send me a WhatsApp if you want, if you're having any problems, and I'll help you with that. It's great to have, like, UCD actually has been a really good story for the last 2 years. So I was talking about the history of AMSI there with the past couple of years. Still, for whatever reason, we didn't really have very many UCD students involved at the start. It was a very active medical society in UCC. There were, I think, the AMSI local, the different structures in all different universities. I'm not going to get into it, but the AMSI committee, I think, is a subcommittee of the medical society in UCD, as far as I understand, and which it has been in other country universities as well. That sort of cycle event was the first national event we've hosted in UCD, and it was very successful. And the group of students that I showed there that were in top to Rwanda, UCD had the largest contingent of students a part of that as well. Emily was there actually herself, I believe. So UCD, AMSI, definitely most improved in the last year, I think, or really, really shot up since then. So it's the biggest university in Ireland. I don't want to start getting into a contest between who's bigger. So it's great to be on the map there as well, and it's great to have a few yeses. What year are you in, Michael?
I'm heading into fourth year now.
Okay, right. So the business end of things.
Yeah.
Anyone? I meant to ask at the start, actually, what universities do we have people here from? So do we have? Other than myself, is anyone here from NUIG?
I am Limerick.
You're in Limerick. Who's talking to me there?
Eamon.
Oh, Eamon, yeah, we're talking.
It's my undergrad from NUIG.
You're an NUIG grad. Okay, yeah, you're honorarily a member of the two AMSI organisations at that point. If we've got a few from Cork, I think, don't we? Yeah. And do we have anyone from RTSI here? No. Anyone else from UL?
Hey, yeah, I'm Hannah. I'm
Hannah.
the second year co-chair for UL, so looking forward to how we're going to hold events this year, because last year a lot of our events got cancelled, Healthy Heroes being one of our main ones.
Yeah, there was plenty of things sadly went by the wayside last year, but look at, we have we'll be talking a bit more about all the different chairs in the different universities, but there's this is a premium Zoom account that AMSI purchased as well, and that will be available to local communities to kind of like borrow for the evening, or we'll come up with a booking system maybe for it possibly, or we might look to expand it if we have to. But different things like this, this is the first time I've done this kind of version of stuff like this. I'm normally in a lecture hall at the moment, so it feels a bit weird. I suppose we're all going to be at that as well, Hannah, I think, to be honest, trying to find out what the best way to do this. What other universities do we have here? People here from, or Trinity, I'm sure probably have somebody, do they? Maybe not. Okay. Has anybody got anything else about any of the rest of the different committees they'd like to talk about, or any ideas, or I wasn't sure how much content to throw into this because I don't want to bore everyone to death. But it's a big world out there that we have to kind of get across to people as well. No. Okay, so maybe has anyone here not heard that on Sunday there's going to be a National General Assembly for AMSI, actually, just out of interest? Prior to me saying it about 2 minutes ago. Or has that been kind of shared on? It's been on some of the social media for different universities. Just so you're aware, I know all different universities getting local communities in place, but we need national people as well. And if you have some experience, it doesn't have to be with AMSI. We've had people who've been involved in student unions, in societies, in medical societies, in non-medical societies, who've done fantastic work at a national level before. And it's a really nice place to meet. I know it might be slightly more virtual this year, but who knows what next summer will bring. And it's a really good opportunity to really drive on some of the issues like climate change and things like that will be a big part this year. Also, I think it's fair to say that issues like public health and health literacy among the population are massive at the moment. So like the coronavirus has actually been really, I might stop sharing my screen now because we don't need that anymore. How do I undo that? Stop share. Oh, yeah. So issues like the coronavirus obviously have been massively impactful on us, but they're also like a massive opportunity for us to try and oh, sorry, I'd only seen the chat messages here. Shafina and Elma, welcome. I do recognize your name, but the other evening when we had the AGM and NUIG. So it's been massively like challenging for us from a number of perspectives with international travel and stuff like that. But it's actually probably the time when Irish people know what public health does more than anything else, for example. Things like combating fake news and vaccines and stuff could become genuinely life changing and potentially like vital for just like getting the world through this in the coming months. And medical students are actually really good communicators of this kinds of things. And when you graduate, you'd be surprised how much, like, every time you turn on the TV lately, you see a doctor on these days talking about some very different health issue related to what's happening at the moment. And AMSI kind of, a lot of the kind of stuff we do, it's good practice. Good, yeah, you're meeting with people who are like sometimes not from a medical background and trying to get things across to them. You're trying to raise an issue. You also, like, a big part of what people have to do is they have to try and raise issues among their colleagues. So like, there can be more to being a medical student and a doctor than what you learn in a book and what you learn from like your core lectures and stuff. There's a large world of like health related issues out there, and you have an awfully large opportunity to learn the skills to make a difference that way. So it might be a tough time for AMSI, but it's potentially more needed now than ever before. So if you are thinking of putting yourself forward for anything on Sunday, I've had an absolute ball working with everyone on a national level the last year, and don't be afraid to do so. There'll be a forum as well. So has anybody got any questions about anything on any of that before we pause things for there?
Well, I think Xiang had a question there about the Healthy Heroes this year.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yes, she did, and I didn't see it. Not in semester one would be my initial feeling on that. I don't know, but no one knows the answer to that question. You're right. It is probably one of the events we have hosted that's been growing really well that has a chance of might take a year off. But because it involves either moving schools into university or moving students into a school, you would need a lot of people to dot the I's and cross the T's. I'm not saying it's impossible. It definitely could happen. I don't think there'd be much. Maybe for TY students, there could be some case for a virtual one. Maybe not for national school students. That'd be just a bit hard to keep them engaged. But yeah, I would love to tell you that the Healthy Heroes will happen every university in Ireland in November, like we try to do sometimes, but no, I don't think that's going to be possible this year. Does that answer that? I think it does. Has anyone else got anything else? Any other questions? Any of them bits and pieces that we do?
I don't know. When will that link be posted?
The link for the National Committee?
Yeah.
I believe if you went onto is it Kanki Slowhouse? She might know better than I do.
Hi, the link for the National General Assembly, it's going to go live on our Facebook group.
Oh, sorry, you mean
or our Facebook event page. And we'll also post it onto our Instagram link in the bio. So just keep an eye out. It'll probably be posted sometime on Saturday.
Oh, sorry, you mean the actual Zoom link, which is,
yeah.
there's a link to join or to apply for a position as well, knocking around. I think it might be on the Facebook event.
Yeah, and in the Facebook event, in the About section, if you just click See More, there's information about all the positions, as well as the option to submit your interest if you're wanting to run for a position. So we just say that if you're wanting to run for a position, let us know by Saturday night. So yeah, just make sure you get on that ASAP if you are looking to do that.
We might just have to have a little discussion internally because we're also looking at streaming the event on our social media, on Facebook, maybe on YouTube too, or maybe one of them, and just for people to watch. Because I don't know whether or not we'll be able to have everybody on the call. Maybe we would. There's pluses and minuses to that. It'll be recorded anyway, and if you follow the event on Facebook or keep an idea on Instagram, we'll be streaming it from the rafters how to get in touch with the event anyway. And we'll have the LC chairs will probably be our primary contact in each university, because just so everyone knows about, if you do put yourself forward for, generally what's involved is you give about a 2-minute speech just about why you think you'd be best for the role, and anyone else who's interested in it also does the same. And then there's a vote of the local committee. So every university has 2 votes. And that's normally chairs or secretaries or whatever, or 2 people nominated anyway from the university who exercise them votes. But we allow time for them to consult with their whole local committee who's engaged in the process as well. So there'll be a little bit of a break late afternoon or mid-afternoon on Sunday as well to allow that to happen, and then we'll come back and we'll do the voting. It'll be through an online mechanism that we'll be using. We might actually use the same stuff the ISA uses. We've been looking at that as well.
I've also just posted the link to the Facebook event into the group chat for the Zoom call. So if you just copy and paste that into your web browser, it'll open it up right for you.
That's great, thank you, thanks. Does that answer that question? Sorry, I know it talks about more than one link there, but.
Oh, perfect, thank you.
Yeah, has anybody else got any queries? No, we've covered a good bit there now anyway. Any advice on if I do this again forever, like how to make it more interactive or whatever? Like I feel like a college lecturer now who's been doing this for the first time. But I actually, I just kind of use slides out of using lecture hall anyway, but I don't know how engaging it was. But I didn't really know how to. I tried a poll question to start, but maybe I could have done them throughout. I don't know. Have anybody got any tips on how to make this more engaging? Because I'm sure in AMSI we'll be faced with this kind of format a lot. Or it's been too long, too short. Just any feedback there is more than welcome. That's okay. Okay, guys, thanks for coming, and thanks for it's great to see you all. Thanks, Andrew. It's nice to see people from around the country, and hopefully we'll see some of you again in person as well. So like I'm just trying to give you a bit of introduction. A lot of people here are new to AMSI, and it is a lot at the start. This has been recorded as well, and I'll be sending a link to the different colleges to send it out. I think we stopped recording. It was recording until we got to the Q&A anyway. And we would just for anyone else who might be interested who wasn't able to call. I know there's at least one person in UCD who wasn't able to make. So guys, thanks for coming. It's been great to see you all. I hope to see you all again. No problem at all. Have a good evening.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Good luck with the study. Good luck with everything.
Thanks, Donald.
Stay safe.
Thanks very much.